We move forward with our discussions on 505(b)(2) applications. The next thing that we will discuss today first is the relationship of 505(b)(2) and the patents. 505(b)(2) applications, just like 505(b)(1), are entitled to new drug application protections, NDA exclusivity, patent term restoration, and protections from listed patents. And there are patent certifications that can be given along with it. And there is an opportunity to sue with the company who has filed the 505(b)(2) application. These terminologies we will be discussing in our subsequent classes, but here we just need to be aware that just like the 505(b)(1) applications, B2 applications are also entitled to these privileges. Now we have a table for comparison among different drug approval pathways, where first one is the 505(b)(1) or the new drug application pathway, 505(b)(2) or the hybrid new drug application, and ANDA. We will be comparing them on the basis of exclusivities, possibilities of litigations, and some other aspects. 180-day exclusivity is something which is specific to the ANDAs, and 505(b)(1) and B2 applications are not applicable for 180 days exclusivity. We again will discuss this thing in detail during our discussion on ANDA. 180 days exclusivity is given to the ANDAs that are filed with paragraph 4 certification and entitles sale of only one generic product for the period of 180 days. We'll discuss more details about it when we come to the topic of ANDAs. Then the NCE exclusivity of 5 years is applicable to the NDAs. They are not applicable to ANDA, and they can be potentially applicable to 505(b)(2). New clinical investigations can lead to 3 years of exclusivity, which is applicable both for 505(b)(1) and B2 applications. And since ANDA sponsorer does not conduct the clinical studies, ANDAs are not applicable for this. Orphan drug exclusivity of 7 years is applicable only to 505(b)(1) and B2 applications. Pediatric exclusivity of 6 months is applicable to 505(b)(1) and B2 applications, and they are not applicable to the ANDAs. Litigations related to patent certification, both 505(b)(2) and ANDA could undergo litigations related to patent certification. There is no such case in the case of NDAs. 30-month stay obviously will then be applicable only for 505(b)(2) and ANDAs. Then little 8 or label carve out is possible for the 505(b)(2) and ANDA. The label carve out means that the label claim of the product will only have partial list of therapeutic indications as compared to the new drug application based product that is there in the market. Similarly, must send notice letter is applicable for 505(b)(2) and ANDA. Safety and efficacy studies, full analysis is required for 505(b)(1) application, while for 505(b)(2) it is a partial analysis. ANDAs do not require the assessment of safety and efficacy through the clinical trials. The regulatory review period for NDAs is 10 to 12 months. Same is the period for hybrid NDAs, while it is 15 to 24 months for ANDA. The FDA guidelines that are applicable for 505(b)(1) and B2 is PDUFA, while for ANDA, GDUFA or GDUFA is applicable. The cost of development in the case of 505(b)(1) is more than 100 million US dollar. For hybrid NDA, it is more than 10 million US dollar, while for ANDA, it is 1 to 5 million US dollars. So these are the differences or the key differences between new drug applications, hybrid new drug applications, and abbreviated new drug applications. This table shows the number of 505(b)(2) FDA approvals per year, and this data is for 2012 to 2016. In 2012, 46 hybrid NDAs were approved. In 2013, it was 39. 2014 was 51. 2014 was 51. 2015 49, and 2016 41. So on an average, we can say around 40 products are approved every year by the hybrid new drug application route. The revenue generated by some of the 505(b)(2) drug products are captured here. This tells us the financial potential of the 505(b)(2) based products and the reason why companies are interested in developing 505(b)(2) based product. So this column has the name of the 505(b)(2) based product. The first product is Bendeka, and for this the reference listed drug product is Trienda. What was changed in 505(b)(2) over 505(b)(1) is the dosage form. The revenue of this product in millions of US dollar for the first 9 months in 2017 was 181 million US dollars. Second product is Besaglar, for which the reference product is Lantus, and this again was a new formulation, and it could get a revenue of 278 million US dollar. These are three other examples of 505(b)(2) products, their reference drug products, and what was changed in the 505(b)(2) product over the 505(b)(1) product. So most of the examples here are a change in the dosage form or formulation, and one example is a new combination. The revenue generated by the 505(b)(2) product in 9 months is widely varying, and it varies from like more than 200 million US dollar to 18 million US dollar. There is a submission classification system that is used for the 505(b)(2), and this classification tool allows the researchers to filter and better understand the nature of drug products submitted via 505(b)(2) pathway. There is a type 5 application, which is new formulation or new manufacturer, and the percentage of products against the total number of product is 43%. Type 4 is the new combination, and around 13% cases belong to this. 13% of the total 505(b)(2) applications filed. Type 3 is the new dosage form. Type 2 is new active ingredient, and type 1 is new molecular entity. So new active ingredient and new molecular entity are very rarely used type of products for the 505(b)(2) filing. Type 1 and type 2 were rare, most likely because such products would typically be submitted as 505(b)(1) new drug applications. However, even though a specific category was assigned by the FDA, in some cases, various modifications could be seen, which means they showed different modifications which could fall under different categories or different types here. For example, type 3 products could include a changed formulation as well, a new route of administration, an altered excipient, or a new strength. So type 3 is new dosage form. So although they are classified as a new dosage form, they can additionally include changes related to formulation, route of administration, altered excipient, or a new strength. This pie chart shows the FDA's 505(b)(2) submission classification types and their percentage contribution to the overall filings. Of the total 226 NDAs, FDA provided the submission classification types in 224 cases, which are illustrated in figure 2. So as is evident here, type 5 is the most common type of the submission in 505(b)(2), and we did discuss in our previous slide what is meant by type 5 submission. So similarly, this is for type 3, type 4, type 7, type 1 and 2. So these are the percentages of the products that were filed under a particular type of the product within the 505(b)(2) classification. Now we look at a couple of case studies related to 505(b)(2) product approvals. The first example is of Austedo, which is obtaining NCE exclusivity for a follow-on product. Austedo was a deuterated version of tetrabenazine and was approved under section 505(b)(2) in April 2017. This is the original drug, which has the hydrogen atoms here, and this was deuterated with deuterium here to convert to Austedo. A deuterated drug has one or more hydrogen atoms replaced by deuterium, a heavier stable isotope of hydrogen. It significantly lowers the rate of metabolism and hence longer half-life compared to the non-deuterated drug. So deuteration can be used for decreasing the kinetics of metabolism of the existing drugs. And here in this case, the metabolism rate of tetrabenazine was reduced by converting it to Austedo. The reference listed drug, non-deuterated tetrabenazine, sold under the trade name of Zenazine, was previously approved by FDA in 2008. Yet, Austedo was able to earn new chemical entity status because the structural difference between Austedo and the RLD, wherein two groups of hydrogens were replaced with deuteriums. This change rendered the two drugs sufficiently distinct under the FDA's regulation. Because the FDA classified Austedo as a new drug, it was eligible for 5-year market exclusivity. This is the exclusivity of the clinical data, which is submitted with the application for the approval of the product. The second example is Yosprala, which is aspirin omeprazole delayed release tablets, and it was a new combination exclusivity. There are two older drugs, that is aspirin and omeprazole, and they are available as monotherapy and under the OTC category. Under the 505(b)(2) application, a prescription product of a fixed dose combination was developed. Delayed release aspirin 81 milligram and 325 milligram combined with omeprazole 40 milligrams was approved in 2016. The indication for the product was secondary prevention of cardiovascular and cerebrovascular events who are at risk of developing aspirin-associated gastric ulcers. The product was studied in 2 randomized clinical trials for safety and efficacy. PK and PD studies were conducted, and the exclusivity type for this product was new combination, and it was eligible for 3-year exclusivity. Why we call it a new combination? That it is because of the fact that aspirin and omeprazole were being earlier sold as individual drugs, while here in this case a new fixed dose combination has been generated, and because of this it becomes eligible for a 3-year exclusivity. Remember, to classify it as a 505(b)(2) or to make it eligible for 505(b)(2), there are certain clinical trials for safety and efficacy that must be carried out. And here you will see the product was studied in 2 randomized clinical trials for safety and efficacy. And additionally, pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic studies were also conducted. The next example is Zuridan, which is obtaining a new molecular entity and orphan exclusivity via 505(b)(2) submission. So we'll look at it in slightly more detail. So Zuridan is uridine triacetate, which is used for hereditary orotic aciduria, for the treatment of hereditary orotic aciduria. Small efficacy trial supported with literature data. The application was submitted as 505(b)(2). So here is an example where the literature data has been used for justifying the 505(b)(2) submission. It was approved in 2015, and it was granted both molecular entity and orphan exclusivity. So this is the data which is available on the US FDA's website under the Orange Book. This is US FDA Orange Book data for this product. So there are 2 types of exclusivity, the NCE exclusivity and the orphan drug exclusivity. And these are the dates of expiry of the exclusivities. So these exclusivities are data exclusivity, where the clinical data which is submitted with the application is kept confidential for a particular duration. This is separate from the market exclusivity, which is obtained by filing of the patents. So this is the end of the presentation for our discussion on 505(b)(2) applications. As I highlighted earlier, 505(b)(2) applications are a very important part of the business strategy of pharmaceutical companies. More and more Indian companies are adopting the 505(b)(2) pathway for filing or getting new products approved in USA. The reason is easy to understand, that it does not require extensive clinical studies as is the case of new chemical entities. So this reduces the overall cost of development. At the same time, the market value that can be generated with a 505(b)(2) product is much higher than a generic product. The competition is also less. In the generic competition or in the generic products, the competition is very high. There could be more than 8, 9 or 10 companies which file for a particular generic product. Because of that, companies are not able to earn sufficient money from the generic market. Hence, 505(b)(2) provides a more attractive pathway for bringing products into the market at a reasonable cost and also increase the revenue that is generated. The strategy the company follow are that they will first build up their financial strength by selling the generic products in the regulated markets like USA. And once they are financially sound, they will then venture out into the filing of the 505(b)(2) applications. So if you look at the portfolio of companies like Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's Lab, Glenmark, Zydus Cadila, Cipla, you will realize that the companies are simultaneously working both on generic products as well as 505(b)(2) based products, so that they can increase the overall earnings that are done by the company in the US market. So with this, we finish our discussion on 505(b)(2. And in the next classes, we'll be talking about the abbreviated new drug applications.